I never knew that pelvises could move that fast. And, whew. Magic Mike is directed by Steven Soderbergh, written by Reed Carolyn, and stars Channing Tatum, Alex Pettyfer, Cody Horn, and Matthew McConaughey. And Magic Mike is the story of Mike Lane, played by Channing Tatum, who is this down on his luck guy who is doing a lot of different odd jobs, including stripping, but what he really wants to do in life is just to make custom furniture forever. And he runs into this other kind of down on his luck kid, Adam, played by Alex Pettyfer, who is taken under Mike's wing to become like his protege of sorts as a stripper. And Adam slowly begins to get in over his head with the stripping business, and we get to observe these two characters kind of thrive in this world. Now, what was funny about Magic Mike when it first came out was that I heard a lot of women saying that they disliked the movie more than they thought they would, and I heard a lot of men say that they liked the movie a lot more than they thought they would. Which is interesting because I do think that Magic Mike is more of a guy movie than a girl's movie, because it does kind of take the point of view of a man in this specific situation, and it's not just all stripping, which I think a lot of women back then were expecting. And as a male, I really enjoyed Magic Mike. I think despite some slow moments throughout the movie, it has an excellent script and fantastic direction. Now, the director for this movie, Steven Soderbergh, is also the cinematographer here, and his cinematography is slick, but it has like this neon grittiness to it, which really reminded me of the movie Collateral. And for me, these kinds of visuals adds to the feeling that what the characters are doing, despite looking glamorous, is also somewhat dangerous. There's this undercurrent of menace to the stuff that happens on screen. The production design is fun, I think, in that the stripping routines really kind of get creative with like the costumes and whatnot, and even if you don't really like watching men take off their clothes, it's undeniably entertaining. The sound mix in this movie is very clean during the dialogue scenes, which serves as a great counterpoint to the loud like stripping scenes with all these women just hooting and throwing ones at them. And the soundtrack in this movie is awesome as well. Like, there's so many songs here, there's lots of great music that you wouldn't really imagine that they'd be able to dance to, but the songs they use here really give this movie its own unique personality. And the way they use some of the songs also, like, they make some of the songs sound more sinister than they really are because of the images that they show. And Steven Soderbergh is also the editor for this movie, and his editing is very clean and sharp, which gives the impression of these characters' lives being really busy and a lot of stuff happening in the span of 3 months. And there's some extremely energetic and stylistic sequences as well throughout the movie. But what I really like about this movie is its story, its script. Like I said, it's really interesting to me how the story is told from the points of view of both Mike and Adam, but they're moving in opposite directions, and it's great to see like these two characters meet up when they're like in completely different places. And what really brings home the story for me here is that the primary characters feel incredibly genuine and lived in. It really feels like these are real people, and you get a sense that there's history to them, in the sense that you feel that they're tired from their job, or you feel that this is like their last big break or whatnot. And this great characterization, I think, can be seen in the dialogue, which is also great. It's very naturalistic. It feels almost improvised a lot of the time, which just makes it like more fun to listen to, in my opinion. Even as they talk about like mundane things, it just feels natural. You get drawn into it, and I really like how the story just uses its economic background and the specific occupation of stripping not to really shove a message into our faces, but to really use it as a backdrop to tell a pretty dark story about ambition and passions in life. And let's talk about the acting in this movie. Channing Tatum in this movie is great. I watched him in G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra and thought to myself like he was never gonna be a good actor, but he proved me wrong here. He's great. He has his natural charm and sincerity about him, but he also just has the right amount of vulnerability. Like, he really is a jockish, macho kind of guy, but there's this subtle like pain to the way he carries himself that really speaks volumes about his character. Alex Pettyfer is also great in this movie. He kind of becomes scary as he gets in over his head, but you really buy the fact that this kid progressed from being sort of lost to becoming this scary kind of dude. It didn't feel like Alex Pettyfer changed character totally. Like, it really came off like this character was a progression. And Matthew McConaughey as well is really great in this movie. He plays Dallas, who's like the head of like the club where Mike and Adam dance, and he's really funny. He gets some big laughs throughout the movie, but he's also pretty scary in that you feel like he could just snap and hurt somebody at any moment. There's this threatening way about him. And the way Steven Soderbergh directs this movie, it kind of comes off as a documentary at points because of how Like the dialogue scenes are really quiet, and he really just does not get in the way of the characters or the dialogue. He really lets them breathe. Which again serves as a good counterpoint to the dance scenes, which are extremely entertaining. They're very well choreographed and very well filmed. And the tone that he strikes in this movie is great. Also, it's a great balance of comedy and drama. It's more of drama, but like when the comedy hits, like it really hits, I think. I don't really have any complaints about Magic Mike. Maybe like there are certain scenes that do feel unnecessarily drawn out and kind of static. Again, the argument that could be made here is that you could say that these scenes serve to show like the mundanity of life and whatnot, but that's kind of a hit or miss tactic in itself, and like in these scenes the dialogue isn't quite strong enough to really carry it. And Cody Horn, who plays Mike's like love interest here, is pretty charming in the movie, and she's very down to earth, but there are times when it feels like she isn't emoting as much as she should be. She kind of wears the same face throughout a lot of this movie, so it was kind of distracting. But you know what? In the end, I'm gonna say that Magic Mike is a really good movie. I think it's definitely worth checking out. I think you can definitely appreciate it if you can appreciate like really good filmmaking. I think, you know, it's not just a stripper movie or whatever. I do think it's worth checking out, yeah. Alright, so those are my thoughts on Magic Mike. Have you guys seen it? What do you think about it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Whatever you thought, whether you agree with me or not, please leave me a comment. Let's have a conversation.